All right, Reggie, you ready to jump into my favorite segment, What Does It Mean? Covering all the latest hot topics in Minnesota sports. You ready?
Let's do it.
Your first place division Twins won last night. That feels good to say. Versus the Rays 9-3 and have won 9 of their last 10. In his MLB debut, Josh Winder pitched 6 shutout innings and got the victory, showing huge promise as a potential piece of the Twins rotation. However, Sonny Gray, Bailey Ober, and Kenta Maeda all on the DL. What does it mean for the lack of the current depth the Twins rotation currently faces?
I think they'll be okay. I think it means that they got some depth.
Yeah, they're weathering the storm right now.
Yeah. Yep. Like you got some guys that are going in and performing swimmingly under these circumstances. And I think it makes you kind of look at the future and you're just like, okay, we like this. We like this. You know, you think when you get Sonny Gray back, you know, that it'll continue to help bolster this staff. Probably not going to get Kenta Maeda back for a while. He
60-day DL, I believe. Yeah.
Well, he had the Tommy John surgery in September of last year, and so usually you're looking at a year and a month usually, and now we're talking about like you know, getting into the postseason play, which you hope that they are and they will be, and that's just kind of weird to bring a guy back for the playoffs. You know, such a high stakes position, but
so put him in the back of your mind.
Yeah, but what I think is like having these guys on the IL and then going to these youngsters and having them perform well along with the bats that you expect to show up day in and day out. I think you are very, very, very confident and you're very encouraged about where the Twins are headed. And, you know, it's so funny because Dylan Bundy came out on Friday and you're just like, dang, man, like, here we go. Like, okay, you were just waiting on the other shoe to drop, and it dropped. Here we go. But what I think is interesting is, like, you don't expect Dylan Bundy to come out and give up 6 earned runs like he did on Friday. And I think what's cool is the Twins bounce back in the next 2 games and show that they, you know, can really put it on teams. And that's encouraging to see if you're a Twins fan as well, is like, look, they're not allowing this to put them in a slump. Each day is a new day, and the pitchers are going out, and they're not having the same performance as the last pitcher. And I think what's encouraging to see is that, you know, as you kind of get some of these guys off the injured list, and then, you know, if something happens and Bundy does struggle, I think what you've seen is that maybe, you know, this is really getting out there, but maybe you can turn Bundy into a long reliever or something down the stretch. If you need to, if he struggles in that starter role, because you got guys that you can call on to make a spot start, and maybe they're not a spot starter. Maybe they are a consistent starter for that rotation, like the young guy yesterday. And so I think it's encouraging for Twins fans that, you know, pitching was really the concern and continues to be the concern when you talk about like the performances that the bullpen has had, inconsistent. But I think you are encouraged seeing what you saw this weekend, like, okay, we can hang despite, you know, any shortcomings that we may have.
Yeah, Twins had a 7-game streak, snapped against the Rays in that game 1, but bounced back to win those last 2, win the series 9-1 in the last 10. Like I mentioned, they got a 4-game series starting tonight at Baltimore. Chris Paddock on the mound looking for his first win, even though his last 2 outings have been really solid. All right, next up, what does it mean? The Minnesota Wild start their playoff run against who else? The St. Louis Blues tonight at home at the XL Energy Center after squeaking by them for the 2 seed in the division. What does it mean for their chances to break the curse against one of their biggest rivals they went 0-3 against during the regular season?
Now, look, the last time, you know, the first time the Blues were here this season was in the Winter Classic. And,
that's right.
You know, the Wild didn't start that game like they wanted, but, you know, they came back and made a game of it. And so I think you know, what they've shown this season is that they can play with any team and they have the capabilities to beat any team. You know, they can get down 2, 3, 4 goals and still come back, take you to overtime and win it. And so it's just funny, man. It's like if you're a competitor, you're just like, let's go. Because you're like, okay, look, 0-3 in the regular season. All right, bring it on. This is the playoffs now. It means a little bit more now. We went and got Marc-Andre Fleury to go in net. We got Cam Talbot playing the best hockey of his career right now. Like, let's go then. Let's do this. Like, if you're a competitor, you're like, let's go. And so it makes it that much sweeter if you can go ahead and get into this series and take down the Blues to move forward. And it kind of sucks. I was talking to Aaron Sickman with the Wild the other day. It's just like, dang, man, it kind of sucks that, you know, the first round you got to go against a tough team like this. But it's just like, look, it's the playoffs. Like, if you want to get to where you want to go, you're going to have to beat teams like this anyway. So you might as well get it out of the way first. And so if you're the Wild, and we know this about the Wild, seeing them this season, they are gamers. Like, they are ready. And so it's just like, look, bring it on. Let's see what happens. And, you know, hopefully this thing is thrilling. It's entertaining. I expect it to be. And we'll see if the Wild can do what they didn't do. Like, even just getting one win is something different than what they've done in the regular season, because they went winless against this team. So it's kind of crazy to think that, you know, a team that you went winless against in the regular season, somehow you're going to find a way to beat them 4 times. But I think, you know, if they want to get to where they want to go, they got to do it.
Be the best. Got to beat the best anyways. Why not get them right out the gate? Last time the Wild had home ice advantage in a playoff series was fittingly against the Blues in the first round of 2017 when they lost in 6 games. How about that, though? They grind those last 2-3 weeks to get that 2 seed, nudge the Blues out, and then what's the reward?
The Blues.
We're going to play the Blues anyway? What? Wait, that's what? That's it?
Well, at least you get some home cooking.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, in front of the home ice. You're right. All right, last one. When it came to the biggest storylines throughout the NFL draft, it had to be the lack of quarterback picks early that was the biggest shocker. What does it mean when trying to assess the league's view on this year's quarterback class? And which landing spot did you like the best?
I think it means that everything that we were hearing coming into this draft was all true. And I think we, as like fans and some of the media and, you know, just as draft nuts, you know, you're just like, man, of course you can't just like not take quarterbacks in the first round. Like, this is a quarterback league. What do you mean? And it's just like, no, like they were trying to tell us like they weren't as high on this year's quarterbacks as years past. And it's just like, dang, like time went on and you're just like, dang, Kenny Pickett went in the first round. And then when are we going to see the next quarterback taken? And so it's interesting because when I look at some of the places where the quarterbacks went, you know, you look at Sam Howell going to the Commanders. You look at Malik Willis going to Tennessee. I think that's a great spot for Malik, honestly. I do think that the Tennessee offense has kind of regressed. You know, they lost their offensive coordinator, who's now the head coach of the Falcons. And I didn't think that their offense looked all that great last season. And so you kind of wonder if the Titans have the staff that will help maximize and get the most out of Malik Willis. But I think that is a great position for him to go to because he doesn't have to worry about playing right away. A lot of people always talked about how green he is and just how raw he is as a talent and he needs to develop. And so he goes to that situation where he kind of is, you know, like a Patrick Mahomes and gets to learn under a Alex Smith, you know, gets to sit back and just kind of learn the game, learn the league and really see moving forward if he's a guy that you can just kind of let it rip with, because I think there is some question about Ryan Tannehill and his long-term viability as a starter with Tennessee. But, you know, Matt Corral was an interesting pick for me. You know, I think, you know, you kind of see what he can do in that regard. And so it's just interesting. Like, they really didn't value this quarterback classes as they thought. You know, I would hope that, you know, Desmond Ridder gets a chance to kind of sit back and learn the pro game behind, you know, Marcus Mariota.
Yeah,
and so
for sure.
You just want to see, and he and Mariota are kind of similar quarterbacks in that regard, where they can beat you with the legs, but you know they can, you know, I think Ridder maybe has a little bit more of a stronger arm than Mariota does, and he can just kind of launch it out there. And it's so funny, he came into the you know, the post draft process talking about Atlanta's going to get a Super Bowl out of me. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a minute, Des.
Hold up,
like,
Chief.
It's
Hold
okay.
up.
It's okay. You don't have to do that. I understand. You know, don't put that type of pressure on yourself coming in. Like, just go in there, learn. I think he landed in a great spot to learn from Arthur Smith, and I like that spot for him. But we'll just see kind of how things develop. You know, Kenny Pickett talked about how, you know, Mitch Trubisky has been one of his mentors since forever. And now he gets to go and play under him. And I think they would love to see Pickett be the quarterback of their future, but, you know, kind of see what money-making Mitch can do for this season. You know, I think what's cool is all these quarterbacks kind of got a chance to get into a situation where they can sit for a bit. And I think that may ultimately prove to be a great thing for this quarterback class. And maybe we see some greater success out of these guys because maybe they aren't thrust into that starting role right away.
Sorry, just give me 1 minute here, Reggie. Just wrapping up my 2023 NFL mock draft.
Oh,
here.
my gosh, dude.
And done. Okay, I'll be sure to send that over to you here shortly, okay? Don't worry.
Oh, my gosh.
Reggie's going to be sick if he sees one more mock draft in the next 8 months, so don't do it. All right, that's you're in the clear here, buddy, for about 3.5 weeks, I promise.
3.5 weeks.
Todd McShay's 2023 mock draft just posted, I think. All right, Reggie, you survived the gauntlet once again.